In your 60s, you're going to make a disproportionate number of huge financial decisions than any other decade in your life. What are your biggest financial priorities in your 60s? I've got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. If you've been on this journey, we've done a little mini series about the biggest financial priorities that you face by decade. So in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and now 60s, and they all build on each other. So you're showing up in your 60s, now it's crunch time, now it's big financial decision time, as I mentioned, and it's your readiness is going to be based on, well, how'd you do in your 20s? And then what habits did you build in your 30s? And did you clean all that up in your 40s and continue to make progress? And did you capture your 50s? And then now at your 60s, that's all those decisions are compounding to what are your choices available now in your 60s. And speaking of choice, well, actually, let me quick tangent there. Financial planning. There's the actual structure. There's 6 areas to your financial life: your present financial position, your protection planning, your tax planning, your investment planning, your retirement and college planning, and then your estate planning. And all 6 of those areas, think of it like a wheel, right? They all need to be considered anytime you're making financial decisions. So you want to make decisions with the right expertise at the intersection, at the center of that pie, so that you're looking at all 6 areas and then are able to make a great decision that's going to bring synergy to as many of those 6 areas as possible. So yeah, at each big financial decision, regardless of which decade, you want to have that purview. Okay? Financial planning. So that's sort of the structure, the discipline, the science of it. Financial planning, a different way of saying it, is trying to give yourself as many financial choices as possible, and then using those 6 areas through that lens to pick the very best choice of a range of good choices, okay? When you show up in your 60s and have these enormous financial decisions to make, a disproportionate number of huge financial decisions compared to when you're in your 50s or your 40s, 30s, or 20s, so many, it all sort of leads to this, and for the most part, have you prepared enough so that in your 60s, you've got a lot of good choices? You've got a lot of good choices, and certainly will there be some misses? Will there be some financial regrets? Yes, we've all made financial mistakes. And you build on it and you start seeing what your options are, what your choices are, and there's probably you're gonna wish that there were more, whatever. But have you done the legwork, run the miles so that you've got a lot of good choices and you can make a great choice in this stage? So in your 60s, you've got to be working with a certified financial planner. They've got to be doing looking at, we call it comprehensive financial planning. Comprehensive meaning looking at all 6 areas of your financial life, working with those experts in those individual fields to collaborate so that you can make informed and great decisions in your 60s, yes, in your 50s and 40s and starting early. You've got to be working with a CFP doing comprehensive financial planning. All right, so in addition to all the things that we've built on, all the 3 highest priorities in your 20s and 30s, 40s, 50s, those are still priorities. You still got to be focused on all of those things. But what in addition to that are the highest priorities in your 60s? And the first is you've got to determine your retirement income strategy. What is your retirement income strategy? So this is taking what I mentioned earlier in your 50s of your building out and updating your ongoing 5-factor retirement plan. This is now taking that 5-factor retirement plan that you've confirmed, you've updated, it works, you've got a high degree of confidence, and it's taking it from that 30,000-foot view, and it's sort of like landing the plane. All right, well, now we've got our approach. So you're calculating, okay, you've looked at all the various ways to optimize Social Security and withdrawal strategies, and you've sort of formulated, we're going to start taking this amount out. It's going to have this tax impact. We're going to withhold this much. That's going to leave you with this much income. And comparing that to your take-home paycheck right now, is it going to be enough income for you, blah, blah, blah. That's the approach, okay? And then in your 60s, as soon as you retire, you've got to then land the plane. You've got to touch down and you've got to start that income plan. You've got to start Social Security or delay it and come up with that different plan, whatever. But you've got to start that retirement income strategy. So that's a significant, that's the highest, one of the highest priorities in your financial life in your 60s, it's going to inform how you make your investment decisions. We're all, okay, well, how much should I have in stocks and bonds, and what sort of strategies should I have? Yeah, that is all important. It's extremely important. However, you first need to figure out where's your income going to come from, because even if it makes sense to be in a hedge, a S&P 500 fund or this certain strategy, whatever, if it's money that you're going to be withdrawing out next month, then it probably means that money should be very, very low risk. So this retirement income strategy is going to inform your investment decisions, optimize Social Security for you. It's going to give you the peace of mind that you can step away from that paycheck and have great confidence in your sources and the amount of cash flow. It's going to influence your tax planning because, well, is that money coming out of a joint account? Will there be capital gains? Is it coming out of a 401k, IRA where it's going to be pre-tax? What about Roth? This is so important. The number one and biggest financial priority that you've got to figure out in your 60s is what's your retirement income strategy. The second big priority in your 60s is you're going to make the biggest health insurance decision of your life. And again, everyone's a little bit different, but I can say that confidently for about 99% of us. We're going to make the biggest health insurance decision of our life in our 60s, and that is when you retire or when you step away from work and that workplace retirement plan, what's your new health insurance and what's your Medicare strategy? At 65, if you aren't on a group plan, at 65 you're eligible for Medicare, and if you're not on a group plan, well then do you do traditional Medicare or do you do Medicare Advantage? If you're retiring before 65, how do you bridge the gap with health insurance? Is it COBRA or is it Affordable Care Act? You're making enormous. If you're still working past age 65, you're not going to retire till 66 or 67. Do you stay on your group plan? Is it an HSA plan? Should you still fund your HSA? You're going to make the biggest health insurance decisions of your life. They need to be informed. You need to be aware of how those health insurance decisions fit with your overall financial plan. And let me just also mention, wildly confusing. At the time when you want your health insurance to be simple and like this, you just want it to make sense. It doesn't make sense. Medicare, that one word, means multiple things. And so your certified financial planner is going to equip you. They're going to educate you. They're going to explain the different choices that you have, and then they're going to partner with a health insurance advisor to show you what your options are, and you're going to help make the best decision for your overall financial situation, but with full clarity and awareness of how it works. That is one of the biggest financial priorities you've got to focus on in your 60s. And then the third big financial priority in your 60s is you've got to build a multi-year tax projection. You've got to do multi-year tax planning. Yes, you needed to do tax planning in your 20s. Absolutely in your 30s. Yes, in your 40s. Yes, in your 50s. But now in your 60s, as you transition away, maybe in your 60s, your last few years of work, maybe you're shifting part-time, maybe you're starting rental income, maybe you're starting Social Security, maybe you're starting to withdraw money from your IRA, all sorts of stuff, right? All of that. You think while I'm working, my taxes are probably complicated. I've got kids, I've got, jobs, all that. No, your tax planning, your taxes get even more complicated when you retire for most of us. And not only that, you've got more decision-making influence power on your taxes than at any other time before. Back when you were in your career, you couldn't say, you know what, pay me this much, and I want it on these dates, and I want you to withhold exactly these amounts. You can't really do that, right? Unless you own the place. But in retirement, yeah, I want to take $100,000 out of my IRA. That's your decision. I don't want to withhold anything, or I want to withhold 50%. That's your decision. So you've got to do that overall tax planning, that multi-year tax planning, so that you can see what tax opportunities exist and help you make great financial decisions. Now, speaking of choice, you don't have full choice. By age 73 now, soon to be 75, you are going to be required to take out a certain amount from your IRA, which is a required minimum distribution. If you've got parents who also will be leaving behind some of their retirement nest egg, you're going to be required to withdraw their entire retirement account within 10 years, possibly when the IRS clarifies this, possibly take a required amount out of that every single year and still empty the account. So tax planning becomes even more crucial in retirement, especially in the early stages of retirement. You've got to decide, should you do a Roth conversion? How does Social Security get taxed in your situation? all sorts of stuff. You've got to build that multi-year tax projection and build that and do that multi-year tax planning. I just can't stress it enough. There's 6 areas to your financial life. You've got to make great decisions by looking at all six areas of your financial life, making decisions that bring as much synergy or are made in the context of how it's going to impact all 6 of those areas. That's the job of your CFP. That's the job of your CFP, and they're there to help you through each and every financial decade. You know, as a fiduciary, looking at all 6 areas of your financial life, what are the biggest priorities for your unique financial situation? What should you be focused on? I hope this has helped. Certainly in your 60s, that is the time where if you haven't started a relationship with a CFP, you need one. Hopefully you've already got someone that knows your financial situation as well or better than you. It's someone that you trust, someone that's doing comprehensive financial planning. If you don't have that person on your team, contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.